it is Sunday night, and that means only one thing. Race day for the Zoom Racing League's Division 1 competition. And tonight's race will be held in the beautiful Styrian Mountains in Austria, where the Red Bull Ring is located. Only 10 turns, this is the quickest and shortest track of the F1 calendar, and with 3 DRS zones, overtaking opportunities, and wheel-to-wheel battles will be numerous throughout both the 12-lap sprint race and our full feature race that will be held tonight. Tonight's penultimate race may confirm Cody Lawrence's Division 1 World Championship on this final season of F1 22. And with me tonight, as always in the booth to discuss these kind of things, is none other than Nathan Doan. Nathan, I've got a couple drivers out on the track. First of all, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
So still recovering from whatever that was. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing great. Happy to commentate once again tonight. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, as always great to have you in the booth. Usually we start up with our drivers and constructors standing. How about you walk us through that, and we could look at the big line stories going on tonight, especially the fact that Cody Lawrence, if I did my calculations correctly, if with a win tonight, will solidify and confirm his championship for Division 1.
Yeah, I think he can get by with even less than a win tonight. If he just scores, I think, 10 points, then he wins the championship.
Yep.
So, yeah, like we said, Cody Lawrence in P1, 58 points clear of Eric Cavallo. So, like we were talking about, he will win this championship if he gets 10 points this race. So, right behind him, of course, is Eric Cavallo chasing, and it's going to be a pretty tough job for him. Marc-Olivier Bastien in P3, not too far behind who's in front of him, unlike we saw up front. Then we have Quinton Kay in the Alpine, moved from Williams quite a long time ago now, and it's been a good move for him ever since. Behind him, we have Aston Martin team principal Aaron Altmaier behind him. Ryan Newton, the new driver, is behind Ryan Newton. That's Dane Clem. He's won 2 races out of the 3 that he started here. Joining us from Abu Dhabi onwards. After him is Marcel Paps. After him, Hudson Poole. Kind of an interesting story with him. He's joined us, he's left us, and he's joined us back again. And then we have Jakob Kreisowitz behind him. And then we have Philippe Mangoulet in the Alfa Romeo. Then Cam Bourne in the Williams. Luke Locklear in the Ferrari. Magnussen Cube in the AlphaTauri, Hector Ochoa in the Mercedes, Maxime Bowler in the Aston Martin, Kyle Blevins, or Cal as he's known, in the AlphaTauri, Major Castleman, another driver who's joined us quite late after leaving. It's been quite a bit of an interesting situation with him, but he's in 18th, and then after that we have Logan Dukes and Wayden Silva to round it off. We will go to the constructors' standings now. Mercedes ahead with 271 points, very, very much clear of Red Bull and almost looking like a certain championship win for the Mercedes team. After that is Alpine in 3rd place, Alfa Romeo in 4th, Williams in 5th, Haas in 6th, Aston Martin trying to make a comeback here in these last couple of races in 7th, Ferrari also trying to make a bit of a comeback with whatever just happened in kind of like the mid-season part where they had no D1 drivers for a little bit, then recovered it right away. After that, we have McLaren in P9 and then AlphaTauri in P10.
Yeah, really interesting stories there. Just a lot of midfield battles, but Mercedes so far in Division 1 has completely taken it away. I think Cody Lawrence is obviously a big reason why Mercedes is in T1, but let's not undercut the effort and the fight that Hector Ochoa gave throughout the midfield, the upper midfield levels of Division 1 throughout the many races here. And I think Hector, with his first season in ZRL, has given us a great performance so far. Banker laps are in already, and so far we have Quinton Kay, who put in a 104.2, which that would have been by a couple tenths already pole position for Division 2. So just comes to show the differentiation in skills between Division 2 and Division 1. But a 104.2 Quinton Kay, Lewis Piper 104.3, and Dane Clem 104.4. So we're already in the mid 104s, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one of these drivers with the track evolution come out probably the high 103s, but that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. We're very early in the short qualifying session for the upcoming sprint race, 12-lapper sprint race that will be happening here, which might have a play strategy-wise on the feature race, as we've seen last night, Nathan, the safety car came out near the end of the race, and most drivers were caught without having a fresh set of medium tires, having to go on soft tires, going a little too long at those soft tires during that race, and chaos ensued. And I had a blast of a time commentating that kind of situation in the broadcaster's booth last night. Although I do understand you didn't have as much fun as you thought you were having.
Oh no, I'm not gonna go too far into it, but I'll just say that I got caught up in the chaos and just got unlucky. Helped my teammate get out the window, so you know, if you can be a good teammate, then you can be a good racer. That's what the plan was last night. But yeah, so like you said, we do have a sprint race here tonight. Like you said, 12 laps, I believe, unless it's 13, I can't remember. Um, but yeah, so no strategy, no need for pit stops unless you have damage. Like you did say as well, though, I'm saying that a lot tonight. We are going to be missing another set of medium tires in the race. So if a late safety car comes out around lap 25, lap 26, like we saw last night in Division 2, then the drivers will have to either go on the softs or just stay out. We saw a bit of a mix of strategy last night. So if we have another blockbuster finale to the race like we did last night, we will be in for quite a treat. And luckily, you won't be the only one commentating it.
Yeah, most definitely, because I was a little bit harsher to commentate all alone, Nathan. Real quick, we're noticing, so far we're 18 drivers out of 20, so we're missing 2 drivers, and we got a good number of reserves. It tends to happen, I believe, I would assume in most F1 leagues where a lot of, towards the end of the season, some drivers don't show up for races, so we're missing Luke Locklear in the Ferrari. And in the other Ferrari, you've got Kenny Lafleur, who is reserving for Major Castleman, who's, I think, raced only one race this season as a newer reserve for Ferrari at the moment. I forget which is the other driver missing. I cannot figure it out who it is so far, but we're supposed to have Lewis Piper in. So Lewis Piper currently P2 in replacement of Kyle Blevins. Alvarez, who was in the Williams, currently replacing Ryan Newton. And then we should have Apex, and we don't have a full name for that. And he's the one that is not there. So I think I just found another culprit who was supposed to replace Philemon Goulet. Actually, Apex was our Division 2 race winner, so had quite a significant pace. Who could have maybe shown what he's got in Division 1, but that is not going to happen unless he comes in later. So we're going to be missing Luke Locklear and so-called Apex as a reserve driver for Goulet in the Alfa Romeo. So that is our, now 3 drivers who are reserving for the Division 1 race tonight. Nathan, do we have any information in regards to whether are we headed towards an all clear, all dry quali and sprint and feature race?
No, not yet, but I will ask the main man himself, with Beep12, always here to give us the information if we need it.
Absolutely. We'll get that info soon enough. Yeah, I'm trying to find somebody who's maybe just about to start one. I'm looking on Cam Bourne currently, but he's just about to finish and cross the line. And who is that behind him? Is that Hector or is that Cody? Cody's actually on his outlap. So let's go in cockpit view. Nathan, take it away. Cody's just about to go around turns 9 and 10 and carry us through a lap here.
Got you. Right before that, we might have weather in the sprint race. Other than that, it is all dry. And here we go. Down into turn 1, you want to brake quite a bit late and avoid the inside curb. You carry the most speed through that, but he's done just fine. Going a bit onto the sausage curb. Does unsettle the car a bit, and he's already lifted off. We'll look to the next person. Looks like a Red Bull of maybe Duncan McCambic, or no, is that Hudson Poole that's going out on a lap now? It is indeed Hudson Poole, last season's championship winner. Down into turn 1, braking late, taking a bit of the curb. He's a bit unsteady out of turn 1. He might back out of it as well, taking the tow from the Ferrari, almost running into the back of him. Anyways, going down into turn 3, this is turn 2 he's going through right now actually, but into turn 3, the hairpin, very easy to lose traction on the exit here if you're not careful with the throttle. He is careful on the throttle though, kind of slow through that corner though, so I wouldn't expect too much time gained through there. Down into turn 4, it's downhill braking zone, which means it can really lead you into the corner and then make you lock up. He looks to manage that just fine. Right onto the throttle, good exit out of turn 4. Now into turn 6 here, I believe, very, very tricky. It understeers a lot the car. sometimes, and even a little bit of bouncing you may experience it. You can kind of see it, that the
Yeah.
bouncing of the car is kind of affecting how he's just taking this line. Good exit out of there, but now into these two fast corners. Very easy to invalidate out of both of them. Sixth gear through the right-hander, and then right back down into fifth, fourth even, and not getting too friendly on the track limits. Then that is a 104.6. We've had Eric Carvalho
Wow.
smash provisional pole time 104.171. I wish I could have seen that just a little bit right behind the Red Bull that we were looking at. But now it looks like Quentin K is about to start his lap, and he's the man in P2. So maybe I could go for another hot lap commentating, or unless you wanted to say something,
Go
let me
ahead,
know.
Nathan.
Alright, so turn 4 did break a bit late, like I was talking about before. Got a really good exit as a result of that. So this left kink is also known as turn 2. No one really calls it a turn, though. It's nothing for an F1 car. Into turn 3 now. It's a bit of a better run through that corner than we did see from Hudson Pool earlier. You might get a little bit of a tow from the Aston Martin ahead, but it doesn't matter now because Aston Martin's left his path. Into third gear, going a bit deep into turn 4. And then you want to hug this right side just to minimize the time that you lose. Understeering just a little bit, but hitting the apex nicely. Still bouncing, as I was saying earlier. Same thing through this corner, trying to get up nice on the exit. Almost running off that curb, but you want to just stay within the track limits for these two corners next as well. So through this right-hander, 6th gear, carrying a lot of speed through it, almost on the exit. And then he's taking that inside curb, just sent him off into the exit group. He'll have lost some time,
Yeah.
and he has.
He's
And
not improved on his
somewhere,
time so far, but Cody's has got himself put in P2, and so far once again we got Lewis Piper, who's also just crossed the line here, putting it at 104.1. So now we got two drivers in the 104.1. So I'm expecting somebody here to probably hit the 103. I mean, I'd love to see that in Division 1 so far. Nathan, something that these drivers are going to have to watch out for, maybe a little less during the sprint, but especially during the full race. We've seen it in Division 3, we've seen it happen in Division 2, and those are time penalties. And even in real life, Austria's, you were mentioning it, turns 9 and 10 are quite a tricky kind of corners where you're really pushing it on the track limits to get as much outspeed out of the corner as possible, but you can get caught for track limits there and penalties. And we've seen a number of drivers yesterday, and we know how tight of a pack Division 1 tends to be, so time penalties could be really a crucial thing that could happen to me tonight.
I mean, yeah, so like you said, very notorious for being a very easy track to get time penalties at. Because there's just so many fast corners here and so many like curbs that you can definitely run on a bit, but if you go too wide on them, then yeah, you're just gonna get a warning. And you only need 3 of those to get a time penalty, so very easy to get a time penalty. We saw so many in Division 2 and Division 3, but this is what we're here for. These are the drivers in Division 1 who know the track limits are going to be a very stressful part in this race, and they're going to do their best to avoid that, as they should. But I think we're going to see probably less time penalties than we did see in the last 2 divisions. I mean, if we don't, then I guess it's just going to be tough for everyone.
Yeah, most
But right now
definitely.
we have everyone in the pits other than Kenny LaFleur, who's on his in lap now. And this is just the time where these drivers want to prepare for the final lap that they have to put in. It's going to take a lot. Like we were talking about, it's very easy to invalidate your lap, but it's also very easy to just make mistakes in these corners where you can understeer, you can lose traction on the exit. It's just very, very difficult circuit to hook up. But, when you look at it at first glance, it looks like the easiest track maybe in the entire calendar, but it's really proving a challenge to all these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, and I think the first one out of the track and trying to get the clear air here is going to be Duncan McCamick. So Duncan McCamick, he's actually reserving. I believe he's reserving. Has he taken over the seat, or is he reserving for Jakub Karsovic, who had Duncan had raced in Division 2 last night. Pretty sure he's put a lot of practice between his race last night and tonight's race. So far, he's sitting in P12 with a 104.9. So here's what's gonna happen is towards I'd say the 2-minute mark, a lot of drivers are gonna be coming out maybe all at once. We're seeing early drivers already. Duncan's out. We see a Mercedes. I don't know if that's Hector or Cody, and I think we're seeing an Alpine as well coming out of the pits currently, or should that be a Williams actually? some guys are really going to be wanting to go for the clear air already because we could expect it to happen. The traffic on such a short track, and you don't want to be doing a quali lap in dirty air, and that could happen to Duncan now as he's going around turns 9 and then turns 10, and he might be coming right into the back of a couple drivers coming out of the pits out of turn 1. So that's something we'll keep an eye on as Duncan crosses the line and begins his oh, he's going out for a second. Yeah, his battery's not on, and he's taking it easy. So he's going on a double outlap, actually. Maybe trying to get the temperature on his wheels and his tires a little bit easily there. So that could be something worth doing.
Yeah, Cody Lawrence is going to be our last man, or no, our first man to complete his last lap in qualifying. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him. They both know that they need to get out of the way. And through here, it doesn't look like they will do so. Might be calling for an impeding here. And maybe that just messed him up a little bit. You know, you can... he's backed out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have done so too, because when you just have that bit of dirty air and it unsteadies the car just a little bit more in a track that already is pretty tough on the car, then that's not a condition that you want to be in when you start a lap. Who else do we have on the lap here? Do we have one of the Alpines? Yes, we do. Dane Clem, last 2 race winner. One of the last 2 races, I should say, on his final lap. Yeah, I mean, he's going to want to be taking some time off, and he hasn't. He's had a bit of a moment. I don't think he will have enough time to get back to the line to start another lap. So this is it. This is the lap that he needs to put in, and this will the lap that will determine his position in the sprint race. Now, before we go any further in the qualifying session, I do ask you to make kind of a pretty big decision here. Do we crack one open for the sprint race or the feature race, or maybe both?
Oh, I am cracking one open for the actual race. I think the sprint race will just be a warm-up for me. You know, I'm not going to do what I did last night and crack 2 of them open for each race. But, you know, I was the only one commentating, so I needed the extra adult beverage.
Yep.
Oh, Dane Clem's coming into the pit, so that's going to be it for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, his Alpine teammate is out on the track now. I'm
Same
not
thing
really
with
sure if
Hudson
he's
Poole.
lost. Yeah, interesting to see drivers pitting. They just couldn't get the lap together, but Quentin K has chopped off 900ths of a second. So this, right now, could put him on pole position if none of the other drivers ahead of him improve. Through these last 2 corners, this is where he needs to gain the most time. He's almost on the track limits. He's going through the final corner now. 6th gear, that's not going to be a good exit for him. What's it going to be across the line? It's going to be a 104, 127. And Eric Cavallo hasn't validated his lap. Lewis Piper is the next one who's, next one in the order, I should say.
Cody's about to cross the line, actually. He's going around turn 10 here. So we'll see what kind of time he's going to get. He's going to hit a 104.4. Doesn't improve on his time. So we're back with Lewis Piper here. Nathan, he's going to go through turns 9 now. I don't know if he's improving on his time, but not a lot of drivers have been improving so far by the end of the qualifying. What is it going to be for Lewis? It looks like it's going to be a 104.4. Doesn't improve on his time. So does Quentin K with the pole position for the sprint race with a 104.127, just barely 500ths or a little under 500ths from Eric Cavallo, followed by Lewis Piper, Cody Lawrence, Dane Clem, Marc-Olivier Bastien, Marcel Paps, Maxime Beaulieu, Wayden Silva, Hudson Poole, Logan Dukes with good positioning for him for the McLaren driver P11, Aaron Altmaier in P12, Hector Magnussen and Duncan McCamick P15, Cam Bourne and Steven Alvarez on the reserve of Kenny Lafleur for the Ferrari in P18. That is your 18 drivers in the qualifying order, and upcoming next is a 12-lapper sprint race to determine the actual race order for the feature race afterwards. And I heard a lot of Division 1 drivers saying, oh, Austria, you know, it's a boring track. It's going to be a lot of DRS training. But if we take the looks at the Division 3 and Division 2 so far, that wasn't quite the situation. So we'll see if it'll be another DRS train for the Division 1 drivers tonight.
Yeah, so look at this order. I mean, kind of a similar story to what we've been seeing in the past, but Cody Lawrence just down a bit further than he'd like to be, behind a lot of drivers who are very quick. So it will be up to him to decide his championship fate tonight. So let's talk about points a little bit for the sprint race. I don't think we do anything different than we do in real life, like such as we do with the normal points. But in the sprint race, I think it just stays with the normal real life point allocation, which is 8 points for first place, and then it just kind of goes down by 1 until P8. So that's gonna be how it goes. We might have weather in the sprint race. We will have to see. We'll see if these T-posing mechanics are gonna be done tonight. We'll see very soon. Looks pretty dry here.
It looks dry. Do
Do
you
see
think the
some
weather's
clouds.
going to happen during the sprint race, midway through the race? That could really jumble up the order there.
I mean, that'd be pretty crazy. We might actually see some strategy in a sprint race then, wouldn't we?
I would love to see that. I love a little bit of chaos and drama in an F1 race, not like we had earlier this morning in the Spanish Grand Prix where everything was kind of set up already from the beginning. So the latest seconds here, as the drivers prep up for the sprint race, we're going to see every driver on the medium. So we're going to focus here on the telemetry or on the onboard settings in regards to position changes. Turn 1 might be an interesting turn. We've seen a lot of incidents happening there, but throughout the other divisions this weekend. But Division 1 has known to keep it clean. A little bit of lagging I'm having here, but 5 red lights are going, and the cars are away, and we've got the sprint race underway. Let's keep an eye out on the trio here. Lewis Piper, P3 so far, and I don't know if this is desync, is it me, or is it the lobby going on, but there's a lot of situation. I don't know if Nathan, that's what you're seeing so far.
Not seeing too much. I'm just seeing a beautiful battle for P2, P3, and whatever the heck is behind that. We have side-by-side action almost with 8 cars into turn 3. Not sure if you've seen any of this, but I hope to still commentate with it. Eric Cavallo down the inside of Lewis Piper into turn 4. Will he get the position? Looks like Lewis Piper will stay ahead, but Hector Ochoa is DNF'd in a very odd spot, and that is a virtual safety car. I have no idea what's happened here.
My internet has settled for me. I don't know if on the lobby or on the YouTube channel it was lagging for you guys, but we've got now a full safety car. We got the safety car coming out of the pit lane. Quentin K had himself quite a lead already off the sprint race, given the fact that everybody behind him were battling. Eric Cavallo, Lewis Piper, all the way down to Dane Clem has not changed positions. Magnus and Cube gained 4 positions, starting P14 is already P10. Cam Bourne gained 3 positions. Unfortunately for Hector, that is it for him, losing out on 5 positions and crashed out just before turns 4. And so that's a little bit of a interesting moment to crash out. And wondering if they went 3 wide, if there was contact, and that's what caused him to crash out, because I don't think he did that on his own. Yeah, we've got Hudson Poole, both Hudson Poole and Duncan McCamick in the pits. And it looks like both of them took damage, and so they got a double stack. And
oh man,
yeah, that is a lot of time lost for both of those Red Bull drivers, unfortunately, and that was gonna hinder them hard for the feature race, Nathan.
I think it might be a bit of a different situation for Duncan McCamick though, because he changed onto the soft tire and did not change his wing at all, so he was pretty far near the back. So I wonder if he's just going for the soft tire and thinking, you know, I've got nothing to lose. I've got this if I can just make some positions. Last night he was really complaining about Division 2 racecraft and how he's getting taken out every other lap. And hopefully he can just make it through the pack without having to deal with that. But I didn't really see what happened, but I'm going to assume that it was contact between Hudson Poole and Hector Ochoa that did cause the safety car. It was a very odd position where Hector Ochoa had DNF'd. He went into the wall on the right-hand side just near the entry of turn 4. So I'm wondering, did he just get hit from behind and smacked into another car? It will all just be to question for now. I mean, probably have one more lap of the safety car, which will mean an 8-lap shootout, 9-lap shootout. I'm not really sure. And to end the sprint race. So far, I mean, yeah, some people have made up big positions. That's Kenny LaFleur going into the pits. Interesting for him. Does he have wing damage? We'll see if the Ferrari crew does have a spare wing to pull out, and I don't think they do. And they don't, so he's also going with the Duncan McCamick strategy here. Very interesting. He might even come out ahead of Duncan McCamick.
Not quite sure. We'll go on board. No, Duncan's going to be ahead of him out of that corner, and that should be the final lap of the safety car, as we should expect it. So drivers were further in the back, so basically Hudson Poole, Duncan McCamick, and Kenny LaFleur, they're going for soft tires, and it's an interesting strategy. I mean, we've seen it in Division 2, right? There was a safety car with about 10 laps to go, and everybody went on soft tires. Now, this could be a twofold strategy, right? You use one of those soft tires now, because if there is a safety car, if there's a moment happening in the actual race, basically these guys now have their medium tires rather in a good situation, right? Last night in Division 2, most drivers went on softs because they had no medium tires. Now these guys are basically sparing their medium tires for the set for the next race if needed. So that could be a long-term strategy. And as you mentioned, soft tires could have a bit of an advantage on the mediums, but I don't think they're going to last very long. You're going to go on an 8-lap race here when on the soft tires, the mediums are still going to be very good. So the positions you'll gain, you might end up losing them by the end of the race. So that'll be all in pure racecraft. Speaking of which, it is time for Quentin K to relaunch this race. Safety car is in the pit lane. It is just entering the pit entry here. Quentin is going to be taking it slow, going down towards turn 10. And he's going to launch this race up, and away he goes. And so he's starting up. He's on the battery, and he launches this race once again. So far, it's a clean DRS train all the way down from behind. Nobody seems to have really gained an advantage on anybody else so far. And Quentin's going to look to maybe having the advantage that he gained earlier before the safety car. And he'll try to do that quickly. There's no DRS so far after the safety car for 3 laps. There will be no DRS activation, so it's all on pure racecraft and the battery management here. Looks like Marcel Paps, or Marc-Olivier Bastin, I should say, is fighting side by side with Marcel Paps. Down they go on a straight line towards turn 4. Marc-Olivier has the inside line on the McLaren. Will he go wide here to cut him off? He does. A little bit of a pause. He tried to switch it on the McLaren driver, and Paps wasn't able to stick it. And so that is in position gained for Marc-Olivier Bastin. He's now in P6.
Yeah, so very, very clean through the safety car restart. I mean, everyone did not spin, no spinners here. Bit of a battle between, I believe that's Michael Bastion. He's changed his name up a bit from the last time I've seen it. If it is, then, well, it is. We have him going wide, though, just out of that corner. I wonder if he did get a warning out of that corner. Doesn't matter right now. We do have a battle in between Hudson Poole and Steven Alvarez, who is also a Division 2 driver reserving for the Williams team tonight, I believe. And he's been overtaken by the Red Bull driver, who's now got Logan Dukes behind him. And it looks like Duncan McCamick just got past Logan Dukes, so now he's got the Red Bull, charging Red Bull of Duncan McCamick behind him. See if we have any wheel-to-wheel action going down into turn 4. A very nice spot to make an overtake, but also a very nice spot just to have wheel-to-wheel action in general, because he can come back around the outside and maybe even try and keep it through turns 5 and turn 6. Going very deep does Marcel Pats. Didn't lose too much out of it, but he just did not have the right trajectory into that corner. He'll try and follow through with Alfa Romeo ahead of him, just losing time ever so slightly. But still, so far, we have end-to-end DRS train.
Yeah, really a clean race at the moment, and I think the guys are really going to try their best to keep it clean. And this is what we were being told by the Division 1 drivers, is the whole DRS train. And officially, the DRS train is now active because DRS is enabled starting turns 1, and so everybody's got DRS, and this is where Quentin K finds himself made possibly vulnerable, and he's been harvesting his DRS as much as possible. Looks like Duncan McCamick got overtaken or had a moment, and he's falling behind P16. He's going to race hard going over to turns 3. They're going to go possibly 3 wide. I think his soft tire is allowing him to brake a little bit later than Alvarez and Logan Dukes, and so he solidifies his position in P14. But that's a group that's fallen apart away from the rest of the train so far, and so Duncan might be vulnerable if he doesn't catch up a full 4/10 up to Camborne. Otherwise, everybody else behind him will have DRS on him, and he will be unable to protect himself as is. And so, speaking of another driver who might not be able to protect himself eventually, is Quentin K. Eric Cavallo is going to try to stick with him as much as possible. Everybody except a couple drivers in the rear of the pack so far are on medium tires. And so everybody's playing really a fair level, fair game so far. Missing Dean Clem trying to possibly peek out on the inside of Cody Lawrence. And so Dean Clem is definitely on the battery, definitely on the DRS as well. He's going to try to possibly making a move on Cody Lawrence, or look at him peeking him on the inside, making sure he's nice and visible in his mirrors, letting Cody know, I am coming for you. And so far, hasn't been able to make the move, but he's definitely playing the mental game, trying to force Cody into making a mistake. And that is not an easy driver. Don't see Cody making a lot of mistakes on track. But he's seen Lewis Piper in front of him going a little bit too wide out of turn 4, and so trying to gain on him, but not able to do so far.
Yeah, and Hudson Poole gained past Aaron Altmaier a bit later than he wanted to. I mean, he got out just of the exit of turn 4, and now he's up into 11th place on the soft tire. Oh yeah, he did pit for the soft tire. I was trying to think of when that happened, but he was the one who had to replace his front wing, and now look where he is. He's up into 11th. I don't know if he's gained positions from the pit stop that he made, but if he has, then he's done a great job of just keeping it straight on track. Other than Logan Dukes, or I should say, unlike Logan Dukes, who spun in turn 9 just on the exit, I believe. Behind the race leader, it doesn't look like Eric Cavallo will be trying to make a move, but look how much battery he has compared to the Alpine. I mean, 100% right now. I mean, he's going crazy. We'll see if he can make an overtake happen. He's not too keen on using the battery right now to make an overtake. Kind of like we saw last night in Division 2, where people would just wait until the very last lap, which is boring for us, but, you know, good strategic maneuver to make an overtake. They're going to wait until the very last lap to just make this move happen and make sure that they don't have a chance of getting cut back on. I think that is the plan for Eric Cavallo tonight. We'll look back a bit, and it looks like everything is just very calm. Top 5 all within just 4/10 of each other at most, and then it kind of breaks up into Michael Bastion. I still think that's who it is. Not too sure, but after that it kind of breaks up just a little bit until we finally get the DRS train separated by who's this? Wade and Silva, I believe. But yeah, we have Luke Locklear, who is not racing tonight, but he will be willing to do an interview very shortly. I think maybe we should save it for the real race, but it's up to you. What do you think here?
Yeah, with 3 laps to go, I think we'll keep him for the middle part of the main race. So we'll keep him have him with us here in a couple minutes, and just put a little bit of push on what you were saying earlier regarding Eric Cavallo. That's definitely the right strategy call to make. Quentin K is unable to pull away from Era due to the DRS, and Era is what we've heard is the ERS battery regeneration is very strong when you're behind a driver. And so, you know, you got to be careful with the dirty air, but at the same time, it allows you to regenerate your battery power. And Era is really holding it upwards of 90% so far. And so when he's going to get into position to attack Quentin K, Quentin's going to have nothing to defend himself with. He's barely at 20% here. And so we might see a move being done around lap, maybe even lap 11. He'll have enough battery to cover himself afterwards and extend his lead. I don't know if he's thinking of making the move right now. Actually, look at him doing it. And so there it is. Uses about 20% battery. Goes into turns 3. Oh, almost a contact there. I don't know if there was maybe a little bit of a bump. That was super close by Quinton. Almost had a contact there. And now Quinton has got the advantage of the DRS. Lewis Pepper trying to gain advantage from that situation as well. Right behind him, the AlphaTauri driver is going to try to go on the outside. Had a little bit of a peek. Goes for the switcheroo. Is that going to be able to be covered off by Quinton? It is really close between them two. They're side by side going into turns 5. There's a bit of contact. Oh. Lewis Piper loses it, and he is spun around. He's facing the wrong direction, and this is the worst scenario for him. And that is a ruined race. 2 laps till the end of the sprint race. Lewis Piper, who definitely had a lot of time to do an overtake here, still had 3 laps to go, and he ruins this race, and he is down to P16 in the back of the pack. He's going to have to race a really strong race in the feature race to be able to gain those positions back. That is really unfortunate for him. As a reserve driver, he was set up to gain quite a number of positions in a number of points in the sprint race. And as I was saying earlier, look at Era, he's able to use his battery, and look at it, 1.5 seconds ahead of Quinton. Quinton's got nothing to follow him with. And so now Quinton's going to have to look behind him once again. That might happen again. It's Cody Lawrence who's going to be trying the charge on Quinton. Will he be able to do so by turns 4? I think he's a little bit too far behind, and Dane Clem's definitely still sniffing up his rear to make an overtake happen here. So expect lap 12 to bring a lot of action as these drivers are setting up for their overtakes.
Sniffing up his rear, great way to put it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Cody Lawrence chasing down Quinton, who's just gone a bit wide. But what I'm noticing right now, just you're sitting down under a tree and you look up in the sky and you see this. What does this say? Don't you think could be rain here? Because look at how dark it's getting. I mean, the track, it's looking very, very gloomy indeed. So I think we might be in for some rain. Maybe Libby misspoke or something like that. Not a normal mistake that he makes, but look how close he's getting to The Alpine now is Cody Lawrence. He might go for the overtake here. He's
gonna
burning
do
the
it.
battery. He's going to go around the outside. Will Quinton K try and fight it back? No, he won't, but he will have the DRS going into the next corner. Goes quite a bit deep, and now his
Ooh.
Alpine teammate of Dane Clem is right alongside. No, just a little bit behind. Now the Mercedes driver of Cody Lawrence on the battery, on the DRS. He's not fast enough in a straight line, but will he go for a dive bomb? Just barely. He's trying to get Cody Lawrence to just go a bit deep, and he hasn't. So there's even more action right behind us. Mark Bastion still trying to go down the inside of Quinton K. All these drivers now flashing on the battery. Ooh, almost going into the back of him and having to back out just a little bit. That puts Marcel Pat. We have a battle behind us here in Lewis Piper, and then we have even Wade Silva and Magnuson Cube. Look at this wheel-to-wheel action. I mean, maybe going side by side into turn 9. Look at this. He's going to try around the outside. Will Wade Silva. It looks like he's going for the switchback, and he hasn't made it. And that is Lewis Piper off the track in turn 6, I think. Then what's going on with the McLaren team? Oh, what's happened here with Hudson Poole? Broken wing on the front straight. No safety car whatsoever. But what have I just missed? And he's been hit by the other McLaren here. Oh wait, this is the end.
Yeah, this is the end of the race, actually. Eric Cavallo wins the sprint race
like
here. I thought you were going to call it there, but that's all good. So, yeah, under the clouds, Eric Cavallo wins the sprint race, gains an extra position to start and first, and in P2 it was Cody Lawrence, wasn't it? And Quinton K lost a couple positions as well. I think Dane Clem took P3. Yeah, so Eric Cavallo, Cody Lawrence, Dane Clem, Quinton K went back a little bit, but you know, I think Dane had a possible moment to go on the inside of Cody, but chose to go safely this time because look at the difference in points, and that's another additional 6 points for Dane. With that P3, Marc-Olivier Bastien P5, Maxime Beaulieu, great position for him, P6. Magnuson Cube comes in P7, Wade and Silva P8, Aaron Altmaier, Cam Bourne, Hudson Poole P11, Marcel Paps in the McLaren is P12, Alvarez in the reserve, Williams through P13, Duncan McCamick P14, Kenny LaFleur gain a couple positions, he's going to be P15, Logan Dukes P16, Lewis Piper, disaster of a race. As for Hector Ochoa, these two guys will be looking to make up a lot of positions in the full race. They're going to have 36 laps ahead of them to do so. And we should be having, although we did have clouds and a potential rain situation, do believe the full feature race will be absolutely dry. We're going to see the clouds in the sky in just a moment here. Oh, look at that bright blue color. All right, it is full sun. That is going to be that. So, assuming most drivers are going to start on the hard tires, maybe, except maybe the likes of Lewis Piper, I would say, and even... whoever was just behind Lewis Piper there. Probably the bottom 5 drivers going for medium tires. What do you think, Nathan?
I mean, yeah, a lot of drivers will be trying to go on the medium tires. Man, I'm just focused on how I was so locked in. Like, I thought that was the main race that we were talking about, and then I saw a McLaren and a Red Bull around. I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if that was before the end or after the end or what kind of situation that happened. But we got 25 seconds to go, Nathan. You know what time it is, right? It's time to crack open a good one here. You could get yourself an apple juice box.
Yes, sir. Got it. Take a nice little sip before the race starts. We see the T-Posting team, the members, as we've always seen. Happy to have them with us. I always go on about how in the garage you can see the medium tires, so I think we do have a Haas on the medium tires starting. We will see in just a couple seconds. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. The red lights are going. They are on. And away they go. It's going to be a great start from Cody Lawrence. I think Era had a little bit of an issue there starting on the race, and Dean Clem's going to try to take advantage of that, and he does. Eric Cavallo drops 2 positions. It's Cody Lawrence who takes the lead out of turn 1, and there's chaos in the back with the Haas, and I believe there's a McLaren. There's a couple drivers who went completely aside. Marc-Olivier Bastien completely loses it. And he is further down the line so far, but not enough debris to trigger a virtual safety car or a full safety car in this kind of situation. Cam Bourne gets a 5-second grid penalty for cutting the track and gaining a position. He did not return to position afterwards, and so that might be looked at by the stewards. In the back end, who did I just see go side by side? Cam Bourne, was this Alvarez and Hudson Poole? I see Williams went really deep into the corner, almost hitting Hudson Poole and maybe even making contact. And that was really dangerous of a situation there, and a lot of drivers gaining positions and losing so far. Lewis Piper gains 8 positions, Steven Alvarez gains 6, and there's a driver in the back who's lost it off track again. That is Wayden Silva and the Haas, and so already incidents happening early. But the story of this first lap, it's a terrible start from Eric Cavallo. Cody Lawrence and Dane Clem take advantage of that situation. They are P1 and P2 right now.
I don't think anything's stopping Eric Cavallo from coming back into the lead of this race. So, I mean, look how close these two are fighting here. I mean, these are probably the two fastest drivers in Division 1 leading right now. I mean, we have Cody Lawrence, of course, a man who's had the best reputation in this entire division so far this season. But we also have a new up-and-coming driver in retrograde, Dane Clem, of course. We have, oh no, it's like a mechanic who's been spun around probably like the 9th time in this entire weekend. Along with Logan Dukes. So that is what happened to him. Nothing coming from that. No virtual safety car, no safety car. Nothing coming from that, of course. But yeah, so the only man with the time penalty right now is Cam Bourne in P6, and that was for corner cutting. I believe that only could have been turn 1. Maybe trying to go down the inside of Magnuson Cube here. We'll see what he can do here. I mean, it's all about this exit onto the main straight, which will really dictate what kind of overtake you can make. And he's got a really good exit onto the battery. Now he's going down the inside into turn 1 on the Magnuson Cube. He's made that move stick. Will that open up any opportunities for cars behind him? Looks like his now Williams teammate will be trying to make the move happen, but he's got 8% battery. Not really what you want to see, but John Ranger, I will let you speak now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Cam Bourne is not a stranger to the alternate strategy. I think he really enjoys gaining as many positions as possible, using the medium tires right off the bat, and that seems to have worked for him so far, as he's getting a lot of positions, as well as his teammate Steven Alvarez at the moment. However, in the back, Logan Dukes and Wayden Silva, they're on the mediums as well. Wayden Silva looked like he had damage from his little bit of an escapade off the track off the track on turn 7, so he's way back in the field, as well as Logan Dukes and Duncan McCamick, who are way back. But not going to be Bastien, who was in the back after a turn 1 incident. He looks like he's slowly approaching the rear of Hector Ochoa, but so far, where we're looking ahead is Cody Lawrence, Dane Clem, Eric Cavallo, who are the top 3 drivers who are really setting up an incredible pace so far. And we might see some midfield action here coming up into turns 3. Maybe some dive bombing, trying to see if Cam Bourne's in a position. No, nobody's really in a position to do some overtakes as of now. So kind of clean through turns 3 there. Everybody's just following their orders so far and keeping it tight. However, it's Dane Clem who got dangerously close to Cody Lawrence. Maybe had a little bit peek on the inside, but Cody's going to close that door and not allow him to go any further. But Clem's really putting on the pressure on Lawrence here so far, and away they go. Wayden Silva just posted the fastest lap in his Haas on the medium tires.
Yeah, I mean, Dane Clem, he's really going for it here. He's absolutely fearless going down into turn 4, and now he's just looking for a blank space to fit in and make the overtake on Cody Lawrence. He's definitely got the pace to do so, I'd say, but only in Cody Lawrence while it streams will he stay ahead. And now retrograde Dane Clem has passed him into turn 1. And he's gone right past him, but he's had a bit of a moment out of turn 1, so that allows Cody Lawrence to come back almost side by side, but he hasn't got the speed in a straight line. And now look who's disinvited. This is Eric Cavallo, maybe trying to make a move into turn 3, but he hasn't, so that is how it's going to end for these 3. But will Cody Lawrence be able to get a good exit out of turn 3? It looks like he has, but he's not going for the overtake just quite yet. Maybe trying to save the battery a little bit and just stay behind him for now. Wait until the last lap. Hopefully not the last lap, but sooner or later he will be trying to make this overtake happen here.
Yeah, being in P2 is a really advantageous position here. As much as you can regenerate your battery, you could also go for the undercut here on the driver ahead of you. So that could be something that Cody's thinking about. So seeing Dane going down on the inside, surprisingly, I would say, I wouldn't expect Dane Clem to do that move on the main straight. Maybe probably on the second main straight on the DRS zone between turns 1 and 3. But he went on the overtake for the turn 1, and Cody Lawrence could just sit behind him and regenerate his battery and dictate the strategy now, unless Dane Clem could really run away with it, which so far I don't think he's got the pace to do so. Every time a driver behind him gets DRS, he's got the advantage. Eric Cavallo is doing the same thing he did in sprint race. He's going to be very patient, harvesting his battery as well, and Quinton K is going to try to take advantage of a situation eventually in front of him. So it's really a patient game happening here, and we've seen that many times before in Division 1, and usually it results in quite a hectic last couple laps in a race. And so if you think this is just a boring old DRS train like from real F1, I'm telling you right now, that's not what's going to happen tonight in Division 1.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just almost an ambitious overtake happened from Lewis Piper. He's still going for it on Steven Alvarez. He's going down the inside of this corner. They make a bit of contact. He's almost going to seal his fate in that corner once again. Absolutely fearless from the AlphaTauri driver, but he does have to concede for now. He tried to dive bomb down into turn 4, and then he tried to dive bomb again into turn 5, so he's just going for it. He needs to make up this position now, because he doesn't want to be stuck behind the medium tire driver who's not making up any positions whatsoever. He's going to be held up, but not anymore, as he goes side by side with Steven Alvarez, and he's passed him into turn 1. He's going to have it done way before that, and now he's going to join into this DRS train from P1 to P6, I should say, down to even P7. He's chasing Hudson Poole now. Totally blanked there, but right now, it's still the same battle that we've seen all the time, except now just with Quinton K in the mix from the top 3. So we have lots to watch here. Alpine right now with a great result. I don't think this would seal the championship for Mercedes quite yet. Actually, probably would, but whatever it is, they still got a long race to go as of all of these drivers here.
Yeah, let's pull up the drivers' signings real quick here. I'm on board with Lewis Piper, who's trying to gain ground on Hudson Poole eventually. When you look at the scores, Cody Lawrence, the only person who could really give him a fight for the championship is Eric Cavallo right now, right? And Eric just behind Cody Lawrence, and so the point difference at this point between P2 and P3 isn't big enough. I think it's 28 points and 25 for Era if they were to finish the race as is. And I believe Era currently has the fastest lap. Wade and Silva has this one, never mind, at this point. So it wouldn't be enough to confirm the championship. However, in Monaco, Cody wouldn't need many points, and he could be in the middle of the pack. Being able to do that, and Hudson Poole gains a position on Magnussen Cube, who's completely out of battery, and who is out of Williams, that is a little bit ahead, who's gone way deep. That was the Williams with Cam Bourne, who outbraked himself, maybe put himself vulnerable to Hudson Poole a little bit. Didn't get another penalty. Oh, he's done it now. So that is so far 8 seconds of penalty for Cam Bourne, and when he goes into the pits to replace his medium tires for hards, he's gonna have to wait 5 whole seconds. That's unfortunate for him because he was getting positions on the medium tires, and something we've seen a couple times this season already, Nathan. Cam Bourne on the medium tires gains a lot of positions, but driver errors such as time penalties and speeding in the pit lanes and such kind of situations kind of ruins his race for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very capable driver on his day. I think, did he win a race this season, or was that sometime last season? I'm trying to find his name on the standing sheet. No, he's got a podium, though, on his name through the Singapore Grand Prix. But, yeah, he's a very capable driver, very smart strategically, but now he's gotten quite a bit of penalties. So, right now, a couple things I want to note. So, I've noticed that if you go off turn 9 and go through the detection point, DRS detection point, of course, if you go through that off the track, then you will not get DRS on the car ahead, so you will lose that advantage if you go ever so slightly offline. And second thing, Cody Lawrence is really starting to force Dane Clem into some errors here. Last lap we saw Dane Clem going a bit too deep into turn 3, and that really cost him a run down to turn 4, but Cody Lawrence is just trying to stay behind him, just save his battery a bit more, as we've seen that he's been doing. On the space of a couple of laps, he's gained 10% back, so very, very good job from the Mercedes driver here. We look back to, of course, his championship rival, Eric Cavallo. Era really needs a standout performance and a very bad performance from Cody Lawrence to keep his hopes alive. The only way that I can really see Era winning this is, well, first he's going to start off to see if he can make a move on the Mercedes driver. He can't. And it looked like even under pressure from Eric Cavallo, Cody Lawrence was still looking forward. I don't know if he's just pulling the battery to stay defensive and ended up just getting a good advantage on the car ahead. But whatever Eric Cavallo is doing right now, it's doing a very good job to distract Cody Lawrence's goal from saving battery. It's really helping him just waste his battery just a bit more. Actually, we have a bit of contact behind into turn 4. Marcel Paps got spun around. I believe he was on the inside line, and he just got spun around by the car he's trying to overtake. I wasn't sure what that was. I think it might have been an Aston Martin, maybe Maxime Billiot or Aaron Allmeyer. One of those two might be in for a penalty, and I don't think track limit penalties will be the only ones we see, as we see Dane Clem getting very, very loosey-goosey out of the final corner. Doesn't lose him too much time, though. He's been going on the battery just to try and gain a bit of advantage out of these corners here. Eric Cavallo still just trying to stay behind. Yeah, so let's look at how Era deploys on the battery. He gains on the Mercedes ahead, and he knows that this might force, and yeah, as we can see, Cody Lawrence is back onto the battery, and that is maybe Eric Cavallo's plan, because he's still level terms with battery at the moment. But when he deploys the battery right behind Cody Lawrence, he's kind of forcing Cody to make his battery go down a bit. He needs to deploy if he wants to stay ahead of Eric Cavallo, or it's just going to be easy
Whoa.
pickings with the Haas driver. Do we see,
Yeah,
oh,
that
Cam
was a
Bourne going off
dive
track.
bomb for Lewis Piper right into the inside of Cam Bourne and forces him off track. That is a very classic situation. If you remember a couple of years ago, Lewis Hamilton versus Alex Albon in the Red Bull. That was quite a situation. It was very, very similar. And he goes a little bit loosey-goosey coming out of turn 7, out of turn 8, actually, I should say. And Lewis Piper did quite a... That didn't look like a proper dive bomb for me when... but he tried his best to keep it clean, and that did not happen. Cam Bourne, luckily, is only P8, loses 2 positions out, but he got his tires dirty out there. Going back to Eric Carvalho, Nathan, as we were talking, and oh, somebody's in the back. What happened with Steven Alvarez?
Around, he's reset the track, but he went too wide off the exit of the final corner and just spun around. As you were saying, what was that?
I was talking about Eric Cavallo. He's trying to put pressure up on Cody Lawrence because the sweet spot in this race right now is P2. Cody Lawrence is in a position where he could dictate the race by triggering an undercut by Dane Clem. Maybe Dane Clem's going to try to cover off that undercut, so everybody's going to be pitting maybe early, or maybe they're going to go late, and Eric Cavallo is in a position where he's just got to follow everybody. If he could get himself in P2, he decides to which pitch strategy he could go for, and that would put him in a way better position for the potential race win, because that's what he's racing for right now. Eric Cavallo, currently sitting in P3. There's a couple positions being switched in the back. I believe there's a battle between Hector, or there was a battle between Hector and Aaron. Hector got the better of him, and he is now sitting P11. And that is it. Now, we're going to beginning lap 14 now. You've got some guys who are on older mediums. Let's talk pitch strategy, Nathan. When are those medium tire runners going to be looking to go pitting soon?
Right about now, actually. We should see them pitting very soon, probably in the next lap or so. Hard tires should be around lap 20 at the latest, but I have seen people, including myself, try and make an undercut from the hard tires on lap 18 even. So it does work, but it does put your medium tires at quite a big disadvantage near the end of the race. Will end you up around 60%, as I heard. Although with a safety car near the end of the race, when you're on old medium tires, it will save them quite a bit, as I learned from first-hand experience. Cody Lawrence now starting to make a few errors of his own. I don't know if he's feeling the pressure from Eric Cavallo, but whatever it is, it's holding up this pack a little bit, because now he's invited Hudson Poole and Lewis Piper into this fight. They've been here for a little bit, but now they're just starting to come back onto the scene and maybe trying to put in a fight. I mean, these top 6 drivers, I think they're all on pace for the win here. It's just who's got the best guts, who's got the biggest guile to make an overtake happen here. We'll have to see. Eric Cavallo is still trying to do his normal strategy of forcing Cody Lawrence into using his battery, but just look at all these drivers. They're all almost uniform in the racing line that they take. They're all almost uniform in everything that they do on this racetrack. So it's just, if they can push each other to a mistake, if they can just make each other take a little bit of a different line and make them lose a bit of time. Actually, that Cody Lawrence just going very deep, almost into the back of the Alpine driver. Lost him quite a bit of time now. And so yeah, mistakes just like that could dictate who wins this race here.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is what the story of the race is going to be, right? As we're currently on board with Duncan McCamick and Steven Alvarez going side by side in the back. There was a moment with them two, I believe, earlier, or was that in D2 with when Alvarez was driving for the McLaren. Duncan's got the outside lane onto turn 6. He goes, and I think Alvarez is going to back out a little bit. Yeah, but Alvarez actually makes a mistake there and completely lets the McLaren of Logan Dukes go, and Duncan solidifies his position in P15 there. And as Marcel Paps gains himself a 3-second time penalty, so that is that penalty for him. And going back to the top 6 currently, as you mentioned, every single one of those drivers has the potential to win the race, and this isn't pure raw pace that's going to get you the win in Austria here in this kind of situation. It's really choosing your moments of when to go for the overtake, when to defend, when to go into the pit lane, because we're about to see in about 5 to 6 laps here the hard tire strategy pit lane going forward. The medium runner seems to be going a little bit late on their pit entries as well. So I don't know if that's going to have an effect as well as on the hard runners. We'll see that in a couple laps, but so far it is still Dane Clement in the lead. He's gained that position going into turn 1 on Cody Lawrence a couple laps ago, and he's been able to safely defend his position. And basically because Cody Lawrence hasn't been attacking him enough. Right now, every driver is just taking it easy, doing what they got to do. But once the race gets past, I would say lap 30, those last 5-6 laps, they're going to get really intense. And that is where we're going to see incidents, mistakes, and drivers going too deep on certain corners. And speaking of deep on certain corners, I believe that is Steven Alvarez, who, since his battle with Duncan, he's been spending more time on the beach than he's been spending on the track.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, I thought that might have caught a safety car when I first saw the yellow flags going on, but nah, he's just having a bit of a spin at the moment. You know, just taking a nice day at the beach, of course. But it looks like Quinton K has dropped back just a tiny bit. And, you know, it's not too big of a margin where he's dropped back, but it is quite significant to this race, and Duncan McCamick goes off track and resets the track. I saw that, Duncan. You're not safe here. But he is all the way back now. I mean, I don't know if that was by himself or was it with Logan Dukes again. That would be quite unfortunate if it was. But yeah, all these top 6 drivers, I've been keeping an eye on each one of them individually. And right now, I'd say the best racecraft that I'm seeing right now is coming from our last season's championship winner, none other than Hudson Poole. I mean, I've seen Quinton K making a couple of mistakes, and right when he makes those mistakes, Hudson Poole is right onto that. He's already going for it. Looks like Eric Carvalho. Did he just hit something off the track? I have no idea what just happened, but I did see something fly. We'll get more on that as they go past the same site next lap. But right now, it's just, you know, same thing that we've been talking about all the time. It's just choosing your moment, and no moments have been taken yet. And we actually see the first pitters here. And
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
the hard tires,
Cam
actually.
Bourne
Interesting.
from the mediums onto the hards. Cam Bourne and Logan Dukes went into the pits. Marc-Olivier Bastien is actually the first driver to go from hards to mediums, so he's going to try quite a severe undercut. He's going to try to get a really fast outlap, trying to get a couple positions. Marc-Olivier, who was at best at the top 10 currently in this race. Marc-Olivier, we're used to seeing it a little bit higher up in the standings on the grid, and Steven Alvarez looked like it was a DNF that he was gonna do, and no, he's properly retiring. He had just left the session and didn't properly retire his car, so that is what he's doing right now, and so that is over and out for him. The next driver to pit is gonna be Aaron Altmaier, trying to cover off the undercut from Marc-Olivier Bastien. Let's go on board with Marc-Olivier here and see if he's able to be ahead. Oh yeah, most definitely he's going to be able to overtake Aaron Altmaier and get into position back there. And his next target should be Marcel Paps, Leclerc, Hector Ochoa, and the likes of those guys trying to go for the undertake. Duncan McCamick also pitting. His hard tires were giving him a hard time in the last couple laps with a few spins of his own. And now he is overtaken by Wayden Silva, who's on 16-lap-old mediums. That is quite old for the mediums, but he's going to try to push him as much as possible. Maybe he's going to stay out as long as he can, maybe hoping for a safety car. But so far, the incidences have been quite minimized. I was wondering why there was a lot of switches up here on the upper grid here. And it is now the Hudson Pool's turn, Maxim Boulder and Hector Ochoa, their turns to go into the pits. And so now we're seeing maybe some early pitters, lap 19, lap 18, lap 19. Seems to be the strategy to go. So they're going to try the undercut, especially for Hudson Pool. He's going to try for that undercut on his rivals on the top 4 in front of him. So anybody from Cody Lawrence down to Quentin K. Well, that'll be an interesting strategy to look at. So who's going to be the next in the top 4 to go into the pits, as Cody Lawrence decided to make the move on Dane Clem this time. And so he's got P1. Looks like he's really pushing it out with his battery. He might be I'm assuming he's going to be the next one to dive into the pits.
Yeah, I mean, Hudson Pool had a very brave undercut, but he also had probably one of the worst pit entries I've ever seen. I mean, he slowed down so much, and I think that lost him quite a bit of time, but it will matter if any of these drivers come to pit. It was only Cody Lawrence from the top 5, and now, so we'll see if Hudson Pool's undercut has worked. I mean, you have to be pretty ballsy to be making that big of an undercut so early in this race, especially when you're in a DRS train, because not only may you overtake the one driver ahead of you, but you might also just overtake them all. So we'll see if that poor pit entry has affected Hudson Pool in any way.
And it looks now like he is going around turn 1, and he's not within DRS of Cody Lawrence, surprisingly. So that's not going to work for him, but Cody's now got the undercut done on Dane Clemera and Quentin K, and that might put Hudson Pool in a position, and he's going to have the DRS advantage with Cody. A little bit of wiggle coming out of turns 3. You want to got to be careful on the power with those medium tires as well. And so let's go back with Dane, Aaron, Quentin. Those are going to be 3 guys who's going to be looking into the pit strategy soon. And on top of that, Dane Clem and Quentin K, they're both in the same team, so they cannot be pitting at the same time. They're too close to each other at that moment. And I think we're going to see Era going into the pits, followed by Lewis Piper. Both Alpines stay out, and I don't know if that's the right strategy call unless they feel really comfortable in their tire currently. So let's keep an eye. Let's go back on board with Cody Lawrence. Actually, I'm going to go with Hudson Pool because he's right up behind him on Cody Lawrence. And let's see if that allows him to gain some positions on the rivals. Hudson Pool gets the fastest lap at a 106.5, and it looks like he's going to come out and just in front of Eric Cavallo of Lewis Piper. So the undercut works so far for 2 positions for Hudson Pool. He's got the DRS on Cody Lawrence. Is he going to try to make a move in turns 3? He's going to play it safe for now, and he's going to have another run at him going towards turns 4. Cody looks like he's got a better exit so far out of turns 3. And Hudson Pool right now making the moves work. And now it is for both Alpine teammates to start making the strategy runs. One of these two is going to have to try to go for an overcut instead of an undercut. Is it going to be Dane Clem or Quentin K? We're going to see who's going into the pits now. It is not Dane Clem, none of them are going to the pits so far. But Quentin K, oh, disaster for him. That's going to be costly. It's a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, I mean, right now the 2 Alpines are kind of just dancing with their hands tied. I mean, yeah, they can drive all they want, but at the same time, they have people trying to undercut them, and it's almost inevitable that this undercut works, especially now with a 3-second time penalty for Quentin K. That could drop him back all the way down where he could be first in this DRS train that we saw before all the pit stops, and it could drop him all the way back to the end of it, which could put him P6. So these 2 Alpines really just need to get a move on, tow each other along just a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of the plan for the Alpines, I'd assume. Now that they're kind of in the middle spot right now, because if they pit, it would put them at a disadvantage. But if they waited just a little bit longer, tried to just extend a little bit, they could end up maybe on a better strategy in general. If that isn't the case, then don't blame me, but that's what I'm predicting here. I mean, 15 seconds in between Quentin K and Cody Lawrence right now, it's kind of interesting because I'm not really sure how long this pit lane is, but I don't think it is that short. And now it's only going lower, and we'll see now if Dane Clem can stay ahead of Cody Lawrence into the pits, slowing down quite a bit, but makes it just in time to the pit. We will see. Cody Lawrence coming across turns 9 now. Dane Clem finally into the pit box, across the final corner now. Dane Clem goes out of the pit box. He's going right towards the exit, but he sees the Mercedes on the left streak past him, and he will be all the way behind all of these drivers. And that is really not played out into Alpine's hands at all, and it's going to get even worse now that Quentin K is losing time to Cody Lawrence. and it's going to get even worse for the Alpine. He's going to be probably behind his Alpine teammate, and that will pretty much be the end of it for Alpine F1 unless they can make up some positions in this DRS train here, which at this time is looking very, very unlikely. Uh, I do think that we might see one from not Hudson Pool, sorry, Lewis Piper. I mean, we've seen that he has some, like, he's going for dive bombs in places where it maybe doesn't look too pretty to make an overtake, but he's making it work just fine. And I think maybe we could see some overtakes from him. I mean, we saw him just destroying the two Williams on a dive bomb, and now look where that's gotten him. So it could get him onto the podium, but I'd say this race is far from over right now.
Yeah, we're gonna see, and Quinton K is gonna try desperately for an overcut there, and hopefully get the medium tires working for him until the end of the race. But Dane Clem, the hesitation from the Alpine teammates, I don't know if they're driving with or without an engineer, but that is kind of cost them a lot, because Dane Clem, only's got 2-lap tire difference. He's got 2-lap advantage on the other runners in front of him, which is maybe not enough to really gain that much position, maybe towards the end of the race a little bit. So Dane Clem is 2.6 seconds behind Lewis Piper, and Lewis Piper is not looking behind him at all. He's looking to make moves on Eric Cavallo, as you were mentioning earlier, Nathan. And now Quinton K, once he starts his pit sequence with the 3-second time penalty, he's going to probably find himself, I would say, behind P6, Dane Clem, and probably at a vulnerable position of Marc-Olivier Bassin, because Marc-Olivier was the earlier pitter, but so far his medium tires are working for him. He's climbed all the way back out. I think when he got out of the pits, it was P12, and he climbed all the way back up to P7, and he might bag himself an Alpine with the pit strategy going on. But Quinton K still going on 24 laps on those hard tires. They're probably around the 65 or maybe even 70% wear in that regards, and that is not the funnest kind of driving you want to be going on a fast-paced Austria here. So far, the rest of the provisional top 4, I'll say it like that, Cody Lawrence, Hudson Pool, Eric Cavallo, Lewis Piper, they're in their train of their own. And as I was mentioning earlier, Nathan, P2 is the position you want to be at to be able to dictate the strategy of this race. And technically speaking, Hudson Pool put himself in that kind of position, and he could be challenging for the win a lot more. And he started way back in the pack after the sprint race.
I mean, yeah, so we'll look to see if Quinton K, I'm thinking he might, at this point, he might go onto the red soft tires. And, I mean, call what you want, that's a very risky strategy, because I don't think he'll make it into the end, but it looks like he's going to come into the pits now. And, yeah, he does. So with his penalty now, he's going to be dropping back all the way behind these cars. And now Cody Lawrence will be the getaway car in this situation here. He will be in P1 for now, but Hudson Pool, as you said, he could be looking to make this happen, and it'll go all the way down to the end game of this race to make that happen. So let me ask you this, John Ranger, are you ready for this end of the race here?
Oh yeah, we know it's going to be an intense end of the race. As there's a driver in the back who's lost it completely out of turn 9. Is that Magnussen Cube? It looks like Cube completely lost it, reset the track, and put himself back on track on turns 10. So it could happen like it happened also in Division 2, right? Some drivers probably overextended their tire life a little bit. This time not on the softs, but we might see a lot of action. We might see a lot of an incident. Who knows? A safety car at this point. I mean, in Division 2, as I was commentating last night, a safety car would have been would just toss up the grid completely here. But so far, it looks like these drivers are keeping it clean. But yes, the end of the race is approaching very, very quickly. We're already at lap 26 out of 36. And Cody Lawrence leads ahead of Hudson Pool, Eric Cavallo, Lewis Piper, and Dane Clem, the top 5, who's shuffled around a little bit. Hudson Pool, who had started, I believe, P12 or P11, is now sitting in P2, and he's probably harvesting his battery and getting himself in a position for an overtake for a potential win here. So that would be the return of Hudson Pool versus Cody Lawrence in this kind of situation, which we kind of missed while Hudson Pool was gone a little bit. But look at the drivers behind them. Eric Cavallo, Lewis Piper are really putting up a good show as well.
I mean, yeah, well, Cody Lawrence isn't out of it quite yet. Neither is Hudson Pool out of the woods just quite yet, because he has Eric Cavallo behind him. I mean, this is probably the second fastest driver in the league, I would say. But he's very, very far behind now, where it could be looking for the lead of the race, and it's only up to Hudson Pool maybe trying to make an overtake on Cody Lawrence. Maybe then could Eric Cavallo try and slot into the lead. But it's going to take a lot of style to make that happen, because this track, while it does have a lot of overtaking opportunities, I don't see one where he could probably make 2 overtakes in one. Right now, I mean, I've seen some of these top 2 drivers just kind of making errors and then shaking it off, but I mean, Cody Lawrence, he's still keeping up quite a gap from Hudson Poole, and right now with 80% battery to Hudson Poole, he's got nothing to worry about, as Cody Lawrence it does have quite a lot less battery than he does. I don't know if he's aware of that quite yet. Hector Ochoa getting time penalty doesn't really affect his race at all because the driver behind him is 6 seconds behind him. Now we see Hudson Poole onto the battery. He's staying on the battery. He might go for a move down the inside into turn 3, and he does. Down the inside goes the Red Bull, and he's just made it in, but he's had a bad exit, so now Cody Lawrence will come back at him. Luckily, though, Hudson Poole does have the DRS, but now look at Eric Carvalho. He's coming into this fight even. He's going down the inside. Will we go 3 wide into turn 4? Yes, we will. And Eric Carvalho, ooh, he taps Cody Lawrence, and now there's more contact with Lewis Piper, and Hudson Poole out of all this has come out into the lead of the race. Now it's a fight for P3, and it looks like that has been settled, and Lewis Piper is into P3. Cody Lawrence is the big loser of that one. But hey, I think we might have to look into that again because Eric Carvalho did dive down quite a bit and then made some contact with Cody Lawrence, and that is going to cost maybe him a time penalty. We will not know until this race continues and ends and the tickets go through. But right now, I think we could look at Lewis Piper trying to make a move onto Cody Lawrence here. I would not discount him whatsoever for that move to happen, but I think, you know, normally we don't see Cody Lawrence to be too much of a fighter on the track, but I think this could be a totally different case because after what he's just been through, I'd say that he's maybe had a bit of his nerves and just, you know, he's on his last nerve right now. I think he could probably go for an overtake if he wants to, but he needs to play the smart game. That's what all these drivers need to do right now.
Yeah, Cody Lawrence still has time ahead of him with the DRS to harvest a little bit more battery. Era was really trying to do the brave move to going down in between the Red Bull and the Mercedes during that moves in turn 4, but he kind of outbraked himself and bumped to Cody Lawrence just slightly, a very slight contact. But that was enough to open the door for Hudson Poole for the lead of the race, and so we've got a new race leader. It had been Eric Carvalho, it had been Dane Clem, and now it's Cody Lawrence that had the race lead, and then now changed to Hudson Poole. And we've got 7 laps to go as they're about to cross the line once again. And now Hudson Poole, look at the battery uses. He didn't use that much battery to make his move work, and so he can try to bait Cody Lawrence into trying to use it, or maybe just play the patient game. But Cody's not a favorable position because as much as he wants to attack the Red Bull ahead of him, he's got to defend himself from Lewis Piper, who himself has harvested quite an amount of battery for the move. And with all that happening, if we look a little bit further behind, look who it is who's joined the party. It's Dane Clem, and Dane Clem's going to be looking to take advantage of the slightly fresher medium tires he's got. I'll give him quite an advantage through sector 2, which is a little bit more twisty, and he might be looking to make a move on Eric Carvalho. And Era, in the end, making a move for potential P1 has cost him positions, and he's now sitting P4. And I don't know if his battery situation is looking too good. Not so great for him. He might have to defend himself from Dane Clem instead of looking forward to attack Lewis Piper. Unless, of course, one of those drivers up front are making mistakes. Down in the middle of the pack real quick, we do have some battles going on. Marcel Paps was just barely defending from Aaron Altmaier and Magnussen Cube. I think Cam Bourne's in the mix as well. Kenny Lafleur not too far behind a reserve driver. That's the 2 main packs that is battling on the track currently. So we got P1 to P5, a couple stragglers in the middle of the pack, and then all the way down P10 to P13, there's a battle going on there. I was expecting maybe Marc-André Bastien to climb up and catch up to the main pack, at least to Quentin K, given the 3-second time penalty. But so far, I think his tires are the first ones to completely die off, and he might be in vulnerable position by the end of this race to Maxime Beaulieu, who's currently sitting in P8. But we are looking here. There's a lot of... Oh, is he going to try for it again? Eric Carvalho is going to try it, and he spins. He makes again contact with Cody Lawrence. This time, Dane Clem goes for the position, and he takes it. Eric Carvalho once again just trying for the dive bomb of heroics into turn 4. He didn't learn his lesson the first time. It's costing him yet another position, and Eric Carvalho's in P5.
Yeah, I mean, not a good time to make an error like that. I mean, going for the overtake I can respect, but when the sparks fly, they can only fly for so much more time, and he's wasting time now, and he's put himself a long way back with so little time to make it happen. But right now, I'm thinking big picture for Mr. Cody Lawrence. If he can get this win, and from being dive bombed, being pushed off, and now back into P2, if he could get this win, he would win the championship, and that would be simply better than revenge. If this was a movie, it'd be perfectly a blockbuster here. But right now, it's only up to this man in the Mercedes. I think he will still clinch the championship if he does get second here. But if he wins, that'd be simply amazing. It'd be such a story for the Mercedes driver to win this. I mean, he has 60% battery. Hudson Pool just has so much more. I mean, I think it's only going to go down to pace or maybe an error for Hudson Pool. That will be the decider of this race alone. But I don't think Lewis Piper can make this happen either, because I mean, while he's in third place and definitely has quite some good pace, and he definitely has a lot of strength to be able to make a overtake happen, I don't know if it's going to be enough to just make a win here happen. I mean, even Dane Clem, it could happen for him, but it's just really hard to say right now because, like we said, all these drivers have potential to maybe get a win here. They all have the pace, but it's all about how big the mistakes are made ahead. It looks like Cody Lawrence just went a bit wide, and now he has AlphaTauri of Lewis Piper on the back of him, but he does go away just enough. Dane Clem, I mean, it's also kind of a bit about setup now that you think of it, because down the straight line that could really dictate how you make an overtake. I mean, look how close Cody Lawrence got through in the corners, but look how far Hudson Pool is now away from the Mercedes driver. I mean, it's going to be really, really close. Right now, Lewis Piper is braking really late, so it's kind of scaring me every time I see him in the rearview mirrors of Cody Lawrence, just about to go straight into the back of the Mercedes driver. But whatever happens here is going to be an amazing finish here.
Yeah, absolutely. In middle of the pack, we saw Magnussen Cube in turns 3, taking a position from Altmaier, putting himself in P11. But yes, indeed, with only 3 laps to go, we're going to focus on the top 5 drivers currently, because anything could happen. If a very small mistake couldn't trigger a chain reaction of overtakes. We've seen Eric Cavallo maybe not being so patient in the earlier laps, and Lewis Piper is going to maybe try to make a push on Cody Lawrence. So Cody Lawrence survived 2 attacks from a Haas driver. Let's see if Lewis Piper will get a little bit luckier and trying to do the overtake. And Piper looks like he's going a little bit harder on the battery here, going to turns 3, trying to force Cody into using his. Is he going to go on the inside of Hudson Pool? He does not. He's going to try to save game. Oh, but careful here. Lewis Piper has to drive across the sausage, and that's going to really harm him there. And that is Dane Clem that overtakes him. Lewis Piper tried to go on the outside of turns 3, put himself in a vulnerable position, gives a little bit of a tap on the rear of Dane Clem. No damage, no consequence there, but he's got to be careful. Right behind him, it's Eric Cavallo, who's also going to try to make a position. And so there, I just said it, just a small time kind of situations could shuffle around the positions. Speaking of positions gained, look at, if we take a real quick look at Hudson Pool, who had started in P11, he's gained 10 positions, and Lewis Piper himself has gained 13 positions all the way up to P4. So those 2 drivers have given us a phenomenal race so far. Somebody in the back, is that Quentin K? Quentin K is actually catching up to the group. So we're going to have a 6-race battle here, a 6-car battle for the last 2 laps of this race. And so far, and I think is Cody Lawrence trying to make a move on Hudson. He's too far. Is Dane Clem going to try to make a move? He doesn't have the battery power, so things are going to be happening, I assume, on lap 36 in this kind of situation here. And that's going to be quite an intense finish to this race.
Yeah, it could all be decided on the last lap here between 6 drivers. I mean, I think we can maybe take out Quentin K a little bit. Magnussen Cube is around in turn 1. Doesn't matter now to this race, though, because like I was saying, Quentin K is probably out of this, because even if he does make an overtake, then it's going to be very likely that he drops back due to his time penalty. But here it is. We have just, I think, 12 more corners to go in this race, and it's all going to be up to Hudson Pool. If he can stay ahead, this would be absolutely amazing for the Red Bull driver. He's trying to go defensive a bit, just break the toe just a little bit. Even though he's got the battery advantage, he's just trying to do everything in his power to keep the Mercedes driver behind. So we go across the line for the final time in this race for Hudson Pool. Cody Lawrence retrograde, Lewis Piper, Eric Cavallo, and Quentin K alone. Then it's turn 1, the first overtaking opportunity between all these drivers. It looks like, actually Lewis Piper goes almost around. He went off the runoff, and Quentin K might be able to get him now, but doesn't matter. We look back into the front. This is one of the last overtaking opportunities for Cody Lawrence, and he goes very deep into
a bit of a slide for Hudson Pool as well.
And yeah, both of them go very deep, and it's going to be the last overtaking opportunity for the Mercedes driver. He's going to go try around the outside here, Dane Clem too far back to make anything happen, but around the outside doesn't make it happen. Does it go for the switchback? Yes, he does. Cody Lawrence, he's almost side by side, but he's not side by side enough. He might go for around the outside here, and he doesn't. Maybe go to try for the switchback again, but he doesn't. Dane Clem is now on the back of him, and he hasn't gotten past just quite yet. Hudson Poole going a bit wide, though. Can he make it stick through the final two corners of this race? He's onto the battery now. It's Cody Lawrence. Can he make it to the end of the race ahead of Hudson Poole?
I think it is. It's going to happen here. Hudson Poole's going to win the race, but the bigger story in this moment, it's going to be Cody Lawrence coming home in P2 in an exciting race, and that is the Division 1 World Championship for Cody Lawrence in the Mercedes. Congratulations to Cody. What an amazing race by Hudson Poole, followed by Dane Clem in P3. That is your top 3 drivers tonight.
Wow, it was quite a nice finish, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, Hudson Poole did win, something that he definitely deserves, but Cody Lawrence has won the championship, and I just have to say he completely deserves it. I mean, he's so many points clear now of Eric Carvalho, you know, absolute dominance from the Mercedes driver. He's gotten on the podium almost all times but 2 races, so 5 out of 7 races in the past, and he has absolutely earned this championship tonight. I can't wait to bring him into the booth tonight. I mean, yeah, just amazing. And we even saw Dane Clem coming through onto the podium on some of the last seconds of the race here. Then we saw Lewis Piper, of course, going very wide in the final corner, or the final turn 1 of this race, I should say. And he completely lost out in a position where he could have been in the podium. He's now all the way back in 5th. Quinton Kay did remain 6th, as I had expected. I mean, with all these action in the top 6, I kind of forgot that we had other drivers running in this race. That was kind of all we were focusing on in the final lap, but I will let you take us away through this race, Director. Once we get through the podium celebrations, we see the Red Bull driver walking out in celebration, but soon enough, the man celebrating will be the Mercedes driver on the 2nd step of the podium today, but on the 1st step worldwide in Division 1. He has won it. He has won Division 1 for the first time in his career, and I think we could see many more.
Yeah, I think that for the next couple seasons, I think with the rejuvenated hype for F123, we might see a 3-way battle, Dane Clem versus Hudson Poole versus Cody Lawrence, and a mix of that. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the likes of Era and Quinton, and maybe some surprise drivers coming into Division 1 for our next season going in. And real quick, I had put up the Constructors' Championship points going up because there's quite a gap between Mercedes and Red Bull, and I believe Mercedes is in a position to have clinched their Constructors' Championship as well, but my math is not so great, so I'll probably have to ask somebody in the Discord lobby to do the calculations for us. I don't know if you have information about that, but it looks like it's solidified. We're going to have the top down real quick and get our podium drivers ready for interviews. And Nathan, I don't know, I'm pretty sure Cody would enjoy having his interview with his good buddy Hector Ochoa, who's had a good season himself as well. And oh, am I not seeing the race director at all? I think I'm just being loaded back to the lobby. Yeah, no race director, unfortunately, Nathan. I don't know if you had the chance to see it, but we're not going to see it here. So at least we have our top 5, but further down the grid, we didn't see all the points being put. So that might cause a little bit of a chaos. But at the end of the day, we know that it is obviously Cody Lawrence who's got the World Championship for the Drivers' Championship. It will have to be confirmed for the Constructors as well for Mercedes. So let's go put ourselves into our interview lobby, and eventually we'll have everybody ready up for our interviewees. So I already see Dane Clem and Cody Lawrence. I don't know if, Nathan, you want to begin with Dane Clem, or do you want to set up other interviewees before we start doing everything here?
Yeah, so I think we'll bring in Dane Clem first, and then just go with Hudson Poole, and then we'll bring in the Mercedes crew last, so we can just talk about their win in both the constructors and drivers. They did, in fact, outscore Red Bull in this race, so they have won both championships. Absolutely dominant from Mercedes, but right now we're going to be looking towards the Alpine man. It is Mr. Dane Clem, who came in P3. How's it feeling, Dane Clem?
Well, I had a really bad qualifying, just way off the pace. Just couldn't get it together. You know, if you make one mistake here, there's not the lap's not long enough to make it up in the rest of the lap. So you got to be really perfect. And I just didn't have it with me today. But thankfully the sprint allowed me to gain a couple positions, and then the race was all right. I wasn't really that confident here, but and I was really surprised after the pit stop that I came back that far behind, and I was a little bit hesitant to think I was even going to catch up, but just because of how close they all were up in the DRS train up front, I was able to close in. But yeah, I'm happy to just come away with this after the terrible qualifying and my lackluster confidence here. So yeah, it was kind of crazy up in front, so I was able to just pick and choose where I wanted to go and pick up the scraps where I found them. So
Really interesting that kind of situation, Dane. We're approaching the end of the season. Next weekend is going to be the Drive to Survive Monaco Grand Prix, as we like to
yeah.
call it on our end here. Obviously the drivers constructors has been claimed by Cody Lawrence. I think it has to be confirmed, but I'm 99% sure Mercedes also has the constructors championship as well. What will you be racing for next weekend in Monaco?
Oh yeah, just constructors then. We're looking to stay ahead of Ferrari in the combined, and I don't remember where we're at in just the D1 standings. We're at P3. So honestly, yeah, just if we could hold on to P3 in the D1 constructors, and if we can hold on to where we're at the combined, that's really, it's just maximize points. Quentin's really confident around Monaco, so I think we have a good shot there. I'm not. So yeah, it'll be damage control. I'm really happy then to get this P3 because this, to me, I thought was my last chance to get really good points. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely good job to bring back the podium here, but yeah, I mean, final race of the season coming up. I mean, you've already said your plans here. Kind of want to talk about next season though. Can we expect you racing again?
Well, I'm getting a new job start of August, and so I don't know how busy that's going to be. I'd like to start off on the right foot, so I might just be a reserve for the meantime. Yeah, I'll probably just be a reserve again, which is unfortunate because I don't think in all the leagues I've ever participated in, I don't think I've ever raced all the way through an entire league season. So in any league, so it's just the usual for me. It's fine. I'm never really fighting for drivers championship, so I like to race, and that's why I'm here. So that's all right.
Man, I'm just gonna wish it right away that you had that you get yourself a good work schedule to allow yourself to race here, because we're kind of excited here in the broadcast booth with Nathan to see you battling Cody and battling Hudson as well in a new game in the F123. And I think that three-way battle, especially in Austria, you guys had a great showing and really upping the level of competitiveness in ZRL, and you're part of that. So I want to thank you for that, and hopefully you get many more races and eventually a battle for drivers championship in this league.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
Absolutely. Dane, congratulations again on your P3. Much appreciated having you with us, and we'll see you potentially next week in the again in the broadcast booth if you get a P3 and upper in Monaco.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Alright, so next we will bring in the man returning from his championship win last season, also returning from a bit of a break this season. We have the man who won the race tonight. We have Mr. Hudson Poole, who's won it for Red Bull tonight. How's it feeling in the Red Bull ring?
Alright, dude. Haven't won a race in a long time, and that felt good to do, dude. I did not expect to win qualifying like P11 after the sprint.
Hudson, when you got out of that pit and you started seeing that your undercut strategy was actually working and you were gaining positions and sticking behind Cody, was it at that point you started to believe and you started to feel that the win was at your grasp?
Well, yeah, I was in a call with Duncan. He was racing, and he was like, "Fuck it, just do the undercut." I'm like, "All right," and I did it. And before I did undercut, I was just trailing. I think like P5, just trying to maybe get a podium. And when I undercut, I got behind Cody, and I was like, "I'll just stay here." And I mean, we did, and we ended up in P1 and P2, and it ended up working out.
Well, so you've had quite a bit of a rocky story here. I mean, you won the championship last season, then you raced a couple of races this season, then left, and then came back and just won it. So, you've had lots to do here. I haven't remembered if you are coming back for us next season. What are you thinking there?
If one of the Twitter giveaways I win, I'll for that one game I'll do it. I don't feel like buying the game, but if I win the Twitter giveaway, I'll do it.
Interesting.
Sounds
So
like a
it's gonna be planned on a giveaway and not buying the game. So your seat for next season is not confirmed as of now.
Nope, I don't know, but the
Interesting.
game looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard it might be good. I don't know. Awkward silence there, but obviously
Yep.
good information to go here. I think it's interesting because now we're 2 out of the 3 drivers we've interviewed so far. Not sure about the next season going on for Division 1, so might have another shuffle on the grid. But so far, Hudson, you've shown that despite your absence, you definitely still have the pace to put it up to the current World Championship, Cody Lawrence, who's basically took the title from you. So I don't know. Maybe next season, whether you get the free giveaway or not, you're gonna want to claim that title back from the Mercedes driver. I'm just calling it as I see it, but I'm just one man out here in a broadcast booth alone. That is as it is. Hudson, how are you looking forward to Monaco next week? The classic drive to survive kind of race.
I'm not. It's not a track that favors me for my driving set. Never really been great at it. Every race I've done in Zero at Monaco, I've bottled it, so not really expected too much here. But I'll try to get decent points for Red Bull.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Hudson Poole. Good win tonight. Yeah. Just have a good night.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Hudson. All right, so
All right.
last information that came in, Nathan. I don't know if you've been paying attention. According to according to Cody, and we're gonna have Cody and Hector with us. You could bring him in right now, actually, if you'd like.
Yeah.
I might as well. According to Cody's math, and I don't know how good he is in math. We're gonna have to ask him what kind of certificates has he majored in calculus to be telling us this kind of information. But according,
He's old. He probably got it.
but he's saying Alpine can still get a 1-2 next race in Monaco, and less than 10 points for both Cody and Hector, and that would cause Alpine to gain the constructors championship. But I mean, we'd have to have some absolute terrible luck from both Cody and Hector for them to not get 10 points in Monaco. So we'll see about that. So let's have them both together, because this is the kind of story, and I know Cody wants to probably give a little bit of credit to Hector as well. I'll bring him in right now. Cody Lawrence, Hector Ochoa, both Mercedes boys. We're just talking about the math about has Merc clinched the Constructors Championship or not. It doesn't seem to be fully confirmed, but I mean, by the looks of it, it's 99.9 certain that you'll have the points that is needed in Monaco. However, I want to bring both of you boys in together to congratulate Cody Lawrence on clinching the Drivers' Championship. That is for sure confirmed. We don't need to do the math behind that one anymore. Cody Lawrence, you are a Division 1 Zoom Racing League champion. How does that feel, having that title under your belt with everything that you've gone through this season?
To be frank to you, I really wanted to get the constructors clinch this week. I'm actually kicking myself for not winning the race. Damn it! So the drivers' championship will catch up to me later. But I'm actually how do I say this? I'm more focused on the now and the current. Could have won that race, dang it! I should have been able to get Hudson. I'm annoyed with myself. Good job to Hudson on the win, and I think it was Dane P3, so good job to him as well. That was just a stressful race in general. But sorry to not really answer your question, but to be frank, I'm not worried about that right now. That's for future me to think about. You know what I mean?
I should have expected Cody wouldn't be satisfied with something such as a World Championship title. Obviously, he's thinking about other things, other priorities. thinking about his teammate Hector. We have you here in the broadcast booth because, speaking of constructors, you guys, let's face it. If your math is correct, is if what you're saying is Alpine needs a 1-2 and the Mercedes both have to combine for less than 10 points, it's not clinched at 100%, but it's basically done. And every time we had Cody in the lobby, he gave praise to you for being a solid teammate, for bringing in solid points. I want to hear you a little bit, Hector. How was your first season? Obviously, there's one last last race to go in Monaco, but how's your season so far in ZRL?
Honestly, I feel like I'm kicking myself, or I need to kick myself way more than Cody has. Because if there's any reason we haven't completely clinched it, it's because of me and some of the absolute torrid luck that I've had. Like we just saw in the sprint race, what happened. And then like in previous races, either I get punted off or just weird things happening in the race to where I'm not fighting I'm not fighting for the points I deserve to be fighting for. So yeah, just weird luck, mixed emotions. I'm happy for us as a team, but if there's any reason that it's not clinched tonight, it's my fault. So I do feel a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys want to fight over who's gonna take the blame for it, but I don't think it's a problem you're gonna be worrying about. Yeah, you two have been great all season. I mean, Hector, even though maybe your performance may seem some lackluster to you, I think they have done great contribution to the team. And yeah, even though there is a mathematical probability that you do lose it, I think whatever you guys did, I mean, whatever happened here, I think you can be proud of for the season. I mean, it's not over yet. So just, yeah, I mean, looking forward to Monaco. It's going to be a tough track, but I think both of you are very capable to complete it, hopefully in the top 10. But what are your opinions on the track?
Actually, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Hector.
I'm actually I'm not like upset it's Monaco, but it's like I'm not fond of it either. I'll drive it, and I've actually not had any issues at Monaco before, so maybe I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I like driving it. Other people be like, no, I don't want to drive it and whatnot, but I'm the opposite. I don't mind it. But yeah, I was gonna say actually, me and Cody go way back to F1 2017, so it's nice to be able to go from the trenches to this.
Heck
It's
yeah,
very
man.
nice.
Heck yeah. OG. Absolute OG right here, Hector. Good to have the results here with him, because like I said, he's a really good friend of mine. So thank you for being here, Hector. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
See, that's why we got you guys together in the broadcast booth, because we knew there would be a little bit of sparks and a bit of bromance going on here, and we're just having fun in our Division 1 broadcast so far. But like I said, Hector, Cody spent the entirety of the season, obviously, deflecting praise towards him and bringing it to his teammates and other drivers on the podium and whatnot. The big question, we're approaching the end of the season, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Is there still going to be this dynamic duo in Mercedes for the next season?
I'll let Cody answer this.
I'm not planning on getting the next game, Ranger.
Oh, no.
So
Oh, right. Okay, so I don't know if that's been spoken about within the Division 1 league, but as it stands, Dane Clem, Hudson Poole, Cody Lawrence, our top 3 drivers on our podium tonight, all telling us they're not getting F1 23 unless sheer luck.
yeah, I mean, for me, I like you. If you want me to explain my side of it,
Go ahead.
if you want, I am so burnt out with the F1 games. Like I'm very happy the season's coming to a close in a week, because I gave the best of myself for this season, but I need a break, man. I genuinely need a break.
Fair enough.
So that's
Interesting.
where I'm at. If that makes sense,
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
absolutely. Does that affect you, Hector, in regards to next season?
It just depends on what the atmosphere is looking like for me. I know I'll be racing the next game, but yeah, like I said, it just depends on the atmosphere.
Interesting. All right, and really interesting conversation to have with both of you guys. Sorry, Constructors is not officially clinched, although you don't need that much to clinch it, but you'll have something to celebrate hopefully by the end of Monaco, I'm hoping I'm not giving you broadcaster's curse by doing that. Just got to bring home 10 points next weekend in Monaco. Stay away from the walls. Have a clean qualifying. We've got full qualifying coming ahead next weekend. I'm gonna bid you guys good night and congratulations again for the P2, but most definitely for the Drivers' Championship, Cody Lawrence.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate both of you. Glad to
Thank
have-
you,
glad
Thank
to
you
have
guys. Nathan, we come to a close of this exciting end to an Austrian Grand Prix here. What are your comments and what are your expectations for next weekend's Monaco?
Well, I mean, it's a very tough track. I think we were talking about how it could be under the lights even, so bit of a fun spectacle to see. But yeah, it's just really going to matter to all these drivers that they get in a lot of practice. It's a track where some would even take 2 weeks to practice if they don't practice too much in a day. But it really matters that all these drivers just don't hit the walls. I mean, that's basically all that there is to Monaco. Yeah, pace is something, but if you just don't hit the walls, you can expect at least a couple other people around you to hit the walls, so you may get some positions off of that. But Monaco, I think, while a lot of people don't like it, it's a track I personally love. I'm sure some people can agree, and not, if there's not, then I just look crazy. But it's going to be an exciting race whatsoever, even though it is just Monaco in the end.
Yeah, I think Monaco is going to be really fun. I'm wondering if the qualifying is going to be funner than the actual race. I could tell you right away, I'm seeing a couple of Division 1 drivers already doing their time trials around Monaco, so they're already looking forward for next weekend's race. And, it's nice to see the drivers, still having that wanting for race. A little bit disappointing so far that some drivers are not thinking about getting the new F1 game, but I feel like it's going to be temporary. I have a feeling it's going to be the kind of situation where, we're because of F122 and its bugs and, man, I hope somebody. I would have loved somebody from EA to be listening to this kind of speech I'm going to give out. But all those bugs that were left unfixed, our formation laps that we've had to abandon early in the season, or early in the, a couple seasons back from the beginning of the game, the tire glitches, a bunch of little issues, the connectivity issues as well, with the crossplay, without the crossplay, everything that happened to hinder, ours and other racing leagues, this game really has harmed leagues as a whole, and we're hoping F123 brings us back that stability. So far, the first informations we're getting are positive. It's 9 days until the Champions Edition early 3-day release happens, and we're gonna be able to find out. But hoping the bugs are fixed and we could really resume to our proper setups for the league, right? Because I think so far, across 3 divisions, and F122 kind of triggered that as well. We had 4 divisions going on. We had to drop down to 3. We'd love to go back to 4 divisions, I believe, to have everybody as racing again. And so we'll see how that happens in the new game coming up. But as it stands, Nathan, we still have Monaco to go out and have another broadcast next weekend. And so on that note, I will be seeing you next weekend. Everybody who's been watching us, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've not mentioned that earlier in this broadcast. I've done sooner, but that's okay. And we'll see you next week for the grand finale and the conclusion of the Constructors battle with Alpine, Mercedes versus Alpine. We'll see that in Monaco next weekend. Good night, everybody.